pitches a few days ago, came back and threw 90 today. I mean, how are you feeling right now?
My arm's a little bit tired, but it felt good before the game. So,
how comfortable are you as a starter? Because it just seems like you fit that role a lot better than you did coming out of the bullpen.
I mean, I feel the same coming out of the bullpen that I do starting. That's what I think a couple of times ago I was like, it usually takes me a batter or two to kind of settle in, and I always feel like I do better as it goes. But I don't know. I guess I'm comfortable doing it.
Lamona said he might have kind of misused you for a year and a half out of the bullpen more than starting. How good does it feel to be having these kind of outings as a starter?
It feels good. Like we talked about having adversity and stuff, just always showing up, putting in work, because eventually it's going to start to work.
Seemed like last year at times your breaking ball had great movement, but you couldn't always keep it in the zone. This year it seems like you're throwing at a much higher rate, strike-wise, with the changeup and the breaking ball. What have you done maybe to kind of get a little better command?
I don't know. I guess it just kind of came with time.
What's Foxhall as far as your pitch mix, and what's he kind of emphasized for you? What does he feel like you do well?
Throwing a breaking ball for a strike, that's what we talked about all last year. Is usually when I would get hit or struggle, it was because I wasn't throwing a breaking ball for a strike, and they were just sitting on fastball and taking everything that was a breaking ball. So having another pitch that I was throwing in the zone, I think keeps the batters off balance a little bit.
It sounds like you'll be starting next weekend at Georgia. What's that going to be like starting in the SEC?
I've never done it before. I mean, I played in the SEC last year, and all those series are always fun, so I'm excited for it.
To face a lineup like Texas Tech earlier this week, what kind of confidence did that give you to get through that lineup pretty well?
I don't know. I just felt like I really wanted to go out there and compete. I didn't want to give them free bases. I knew that if you give a team like that free bases, they're going to punish you for it, and so tried to limit the free bases.
It seemed like you had a couple walks and you had a couple punch outs there, and after that it seemed like you never really let them breathe. That's kind of been the book on you. It's like you kind of get some self-inflicted stuff, but once you navigate through that, you seem to kind of cruise. How do you feel once you get through those moments without giving up a lot of runs?
It's definitely a confidence boosting thing, just because I know that if I can get outs with guys on base, that I can definitely get outs when guys aren't on base. But I think it's just a matter of me focusing early on.
How much maybe have you learned in the last month about college baseball?
I mean, you're going to get everybody's best, especially being in this. I guess just the common knowledge, like everybody's good, everybody's here for a reason. So you got to go out there and compete every day.
A little like last week, Tulane was kind of sitting first pitch fastball and kind of got to you a little bit. Maybe how did you guys kind of change the pitch calls this week to kind of keep people off balance?
I wouldn't say we changed much. I struggled today early, getting ahead of hitters. I guess just having an all-speed today for a strike kind of helped me get hitters off my fastball or even off the slider, being able to pitch them backwards.
It looks like sometimes too fastball-wise. Sometimes you're up 91, 92, 93, 94, and sometimes you kind of take a little bit off. I mean, take me through that decision-making process.
I wouldn't say it's taken off. I guess it's just focusing more on my release point or where my visual is on the catcher and trying to like perfect that pitch. I'm not saying that I do, but just trying to get back into a rhythm.
Was it kind of weird being moved up to prepare for Saturday and then coming back and being on Sunday again?
I would definitely say it was a little different. Getting your body right over 6 days instead of 7. But I wouldn't say it had too much effect. We have great staff here getting your bodies in shape with Doc and Adam in the weight room, so it's easy to prepare and get cut off a day or two.
What have you seen from Parker since he's jumped into the starting rotation? I mean, he pitched twice this week, and over 90 pitches, I think, in both games, and was pretty sharp. What have you seen from him since he moved into that role?
I love the way he goes about himself. He goes out there and he's going to compete pitch to pitch, and you're going to get his best every time he goes out there.
Now, what does it do for you as a pitcher, especially pitching the back end of a doubleheader, to see him out there just punching people out over and over and over? Is it one of those things where you get kind of fired up, or do you begin to feel like, okay, we got to kind of keep this thing going when I get on the mound?
It's for sure a confidence booster. And then you try to either match him or try to one-up him. That's just the competition that goes on between us pitchers, trying to get the edge on each other, which makes us compete better.
You got a guy behind the plate, too, that gets a lot of strikes for you. You know, How much more comfortable does that make you? I don't have to be quite as perfect because I know that Landon's such a great receiver. If it's a borderline pitch, it's going to be a strike.
Oh, absolutely. LT today, I can remember there's 2 or 3 that I threw, and I was like, if I didn't have anybody else, even Luke Hancock back there, they would both easily get that call. You don't see a lot of catchers like that.
You've been the only pitcher that has started in the weekend every single time. Is it kind of hard for you to have that consistency when, you're starting every single week?
You kind of get in that rhythm. You get used to it, but you can never get content with it, obviously. Because just like Preston and Parker both stepped up and moved up a day, and then Parker moved into the starting role on the weekend. So just never been able to get content.
Starting the second game of doubleheader, was there any anxiousness during that first game rather than going through your normal routine?
Not really. I kind of just chilled out through the first game, sat in our recliner in the locker room, just kind of took some mental time to myself to get ready.
You guys on the road next week at Georgia. You know you're not going to pitch between now and then. When will you start looking at Georgia? When do you start doing your preparations for those guys?
That starts right now. Just coming off the field, make sure your body's right for the week, make sure you're eating right, getting hydrated, getting your lifts in, your throwing program, everything from just that to what happens on the field.
You're kind of back to being Kellum Clark again.
I don't know, to be honest. I'm just glad that we're winning, to be honest with you. It feels good, barreling up some balls. But yeah, that's like I was telling them outside. If you win, everything feels good, but it doesn't matter if you lose. So as long as we're winning, that's a good thing.
Do you think it was more of a timing issue, a point of contact issue? Were you trying to do too much, maybe trying to hit too many home runs early on? What has maybe changed in your approach that's allowed you to, because even your outs are really loud right now?
Yeah, I think it was a little bit of me trying to do too much. I think I was pressing for no reason, to be honest, early on. Because last year was different for me because, obviously we had some big time people in TA and Rowdy, and I kind of just felt like I could come to the ballpark and just swing as hard as I can, everything, because there was no pressure because they were so good. But we still have good people on our team this year. I think once I realized that I don't have to hit a barrel every time I come up to the plate, and the guys all around me can do that, I think it helped me a little bit.
Also, you look at, you talk about the good players that y'all have. I know Lamonis is trying to find the right guys in this lineup, but it seems like all these guys that have come off the bench have had their moments this year too. What's the depth piece like, you think, this year for this team?
I think that whatever Coach Lamonis puts out there, we'll get the job done. I don't feel like there's any weak link to our team. It takes some people to get going a little bit longer, and some people will come out and hit lasers all over the park their first time ever playing college baseball. But it's different for everybody. But I have full confidence in everybody on our team. I don't think there's a weak link on it. So
You've got this sweep this weekend, game tomorrow, and then Georgia. How important would it be to be on a winning streak heading into SEC play?
I think it's very important. I think going into a big weekend like this weekend with some confidence on our shoulders, I think that's huge, because when we play with confidence and we play with our heads out and our chests out, I think we play a lot better.
Bullpen has had some struggles this year. Do you guys feel like later in games maybe those at-bats get a little more important, maybe a little more pressure-packed? Because you need to get a little breathing room? How would you kind of characterize offensive approach late in ball games?
I think that, most of the time we've kind of struggled. We've kind of gotten complacent late in games, and that's hurt us several occasions. So I think that the more we can add on and keep adding on and keep adding on every inning, that wouldn't hurt at all. So I think clearing the inning before and trying to go out there and score some more runs is what we need to do every inning.
Did you realize right away that their hitter had overrun the other runner on the bases in that first game?
Well, I didn't really see it. I saw Dude run to second as soon as Cam had lost it, but then I saw them kind of looking at each other like, I hope nobody saw that, and I was like, he definitely ran past him without a doubt. I could tell it on both of their faces, and then they were like, but I definitely saw it.
Last year you hit 5 home runs. This year you're already up to 5 home runs and about half as many at bats. Are you more confident now with the year of experience?
Getting a year of experience always helps, but you know, last year I didn't even really play that much at the end of the season, anyways. So, but having just any at bats your first year or whatever the year may be helps, because you kind of get to learn from your mistakes and learn from what you did or didn't do, and that'll help you the previous year. And the goal is to get better every year. So
There was some times last year too, there was concern you might not even play college baseball again, and now here you are. I mean, does it give you a greater appreciation for the game? I mean, knowing what you've been through, and now you're healthy again and doing what you love.
I think it actually gives me a bigger appreciation of just life, because sometimes, you know, we're all competitors in this sport and we love it, and we've spent literally 20 years trying to be as best we can, but they kind of highlight, like, you know, it doesn't really even matter, because as long as I'm going home, I got food on my table, I get to sleep at night, I can't really complain. So I think that last year kind of gave me a perspective on how good life is no matter what, and that baseball, it's important to us. We love winning, we love coming out here and competing, but at the end of the day, it doesn't rule my life and rule what my mood is and how I go about it.